Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in history when a single voice cuts through the noise and suddenly the entire room goes silent. Not because of fear. True strength is not something the world hands to you, nor is it a privilege reserved for a chosen few. It is something you must rise and claim through the choices you make, the resilience you build, and the courage you show when circumstances attempt to break you. Strength begins internally, long before it becomes visible externally. It is born in the private battles no one witnesses, in the moments when giving up feels easier than pushing forward, and in the quiet determination you carry even when no one is applauding or supporting you. People often mistake strength for dominance, volume, or authority, but real strength is forged in the furnace of adversity, under pressure that tests your beliefs, identity, and purpose. You do not inherit strength from your environment. You create it through every challenge you confront and every fear you refuse to bow to. Claiming strength means choosing to stand tall when the world tries to bend you. It means believing in your voice even when others try to drown it out. It means embracing responsibility for your path rather than waiting for others to validate your choices. Strength grows when you refuse to let setbacks define you, when you turn obstacles into stepping stones, and when you decide that your will is greater than your circumstances. The world may try to discourage you, silence you, or convince you that your voice is insignificant. But strength comes from rejecting those narratives and building your own truth. Every person has the potential to rise, but only those who claim their strength through action, grit, and unwavering belief will stand out. Strength also comes from knowing who you are and standing firmly in that identity, even when it is unpopular or misunderstood. It is the courage to defend what you believe in, not for the sake of argument, but because your convictions deserve a place in the world. Claiming strength means choosing integrity over convenience, discipline over comfort, and purpose over fear. It means showing up consistently, even when progress feels slow or invisible. Strength is not the absence of vulnerability. It is the ability to move forward despite it. The moment you decide that your inner fire is stronger than the doubts surrounding you, you begin to claim a strength that cannot be taken away. A single honest voice possesses a power far greater than volume, position, or status, because truth carries a weight that cannot be ignored. When someone speaks with genuine purpose, clarity, and conviction, the atmosphere around them shifts, and even the busiest room instinctively becomes silent. This silence is not a sign of weakness or submission. It is a natural response to authenticity. People are drawn to a message that feels real because truth resonates deeply, cutting through distractions, noise, and superficial arguments. A voice anchored in truth does not need to shout to be heard. It rises above everything else because it carries intention, integrity, and courage. When such a voice enters a space, it forces others to pause, reflect, and confront the reality that may have been hidden or avoided. This moment of silence is powerful because it reveals the impact one person can make simply by daring to express what others are afraid to say. It shows that influence is not always about authority or dominance. Sometimes it is about the bravery to articulate the truth with unwavering steadiness. A truthful voice can break patterns, challenge narratives, and inspire a level of respect that manufactured confidence can never achieve. When someone speaks from the heart, every word holds weight, not because it is perfect, but because it is honest. In a world full of noise, confusion, and exaggeration, truth stands out like a clean light cutting through fog. People quiet down because they recognize the presence of something rare: authenticity. This phenomenon also reflects how deeply humans crave clarity. When confusion surrounds us, when opinions collide, and when uncertainty fills the air, one clear voice anchored in truth becomes a source of direction. It provides a moment of stability, a point of reference, and a reminder that courage still exists in a world that often rewards conformity. That voice becomes a mirror, reflecting back the strength others have forgotten in themselves. Even those who disagree cannot ignore a truth spoken with conviction because it forces them to think, to reassess, and to confront their own beliefs. The silence that follows such a voice is not emptiness but attention. It is the world saying, "This matters." It is proof that honesty still has the power to command a room without force or fear. When truth is spoken with intention, it pierces through the toughest walls and reaches even those who have closed themselves off. A single honest voice becomes a reminder that change begins with courage, and courage often begins with speaking the truth boldly and without hesitation. Courage speaks louder than noise because it cannot be faked, exaggerated, or manufactured. It is a force that rises from within and carries a presence that demands attention even without trying. When someone stands firm in the face of pressure, criticism, or uncertainty, their courage becomes a message stronger than any speech they could give. Noise is temporary. It fades, it shifts, it loses meaning as soon as it is challenged. But courage creates a lasting imprint because it is built on authenticity and inner strength. Determination functions in the same way. It endures long after doubts, distractions, and obstacles attempt to weaken it. While noise fills space, courage fills hearts. While noise captures moments, determination shapes destinies. This is why those who walk with true courage and unwavering determination often outlast those who rely only on volume, popularity, or surface-level confidence. In every significant journey, courage acts as the foundation. It is what pushes a person to stand when their legs tremble, to speak when their voice shakes, and to continue forward when the path seems impossible. Determination is the companion that refuses to let circumstances dictate the outcome. It does not matter how loud opposition becomes. A determined spirit pushes through the chaos, proving that real strength lies not in the absence of obstacles, but in the refusal to surrender to them. People notice this kind of strength, and even the loudest critics pause when they witness someone who continues to rise after every setback. It is not the noise around them that defines their path, but the fire within. Courage also carries a subtle but undeniable influence. It does not need permission or approval because it is rooted in conviction. When a person moves with courage, they inspire others not through pressure, but through example. Determination has the same effect. It becomes a living demonstration that persistence is more powerful than doubt. When someone refuses to be discouraged, intimidated, or silenced, their presence becomes louder than the words spoken against them. The world often tries to measure strength through external markers, but true strength is measured by how long someone is willing to endure, how deeply they believe in their purpose, and how bravely they stand when others walk away. Noise fades quickly because it depends on external energy, but courage grows stronger the more it is tested. Determination outlasts criticism because it is fueled by purpose, not reaction. In moments of challenge, those who possess courage and determination rise above the noise effortlessly, not because they try to dominate, but because their inner strength makes every distraction seem small. This enduring quality is what makes courage louder than chaos and determination more powerful than the obstacles that try to stop it. Greatness begins with the decision to act when others hesitate, to rise when others remain seated, and to speak when the world grows quiet out of fear or uncertainty. Every remarkable achievement in history can be traced back to a single moment when someone chose courage over comfort. It is never the easiest choice. In fact, it is often the most uncomfortable and challenging one. But this is precisely what separates those who leave a mark from those who simply watch time pass by. When a person decides to move forward despite doubts, pressures, and risks, they awaken a force inside themselves that begins to shift everything around them. Progress does not start with perfect conditions or full confidence. It starts with the willingness to take the first step even when the path is not fully visible. Speaking when others whisper is another powerful act of self-ownership. Many people silence themselves out of fear of judgment, misunderstanding, or failure. They wait for approval before expressing what matters to them. But growth rarely comes to those who wait. It comes to those who dare to voice their truth, even when their voice shakes. When someone speaks boldly in a room filled with hesitation, they instantly become a source of direction. Their courage gives others permission to rise as well. It is not about arguing or overpowering others. It is about showing that conviction is stronger than fear. A single voice can inspire movement, shape perspectives, and encourage those who have been quiet for too long to finally be heard. Moving forward when the world tries to pull you back is equally essential. Obstacles will always exist. Doubt from others, resistance from circumstances, and sometimes even fear from within. But every time a person chooses to push forward, they prove to themselves that limitations are often illusions created by hesitation. Taking action, even when conditions are imperfect, creates momentum, and momentum often becomes the very energy that breaks barriers. Greatness is not born from advantage, it is born from persistence. Those who keep moving, even slowly, eventually reach places that the hesitant never see. Choosing to stand, speak, and move forward is ultimately a declaration of inner strength. It is the decision to trust one's purpose more than one's fears. It shows the world that progress is not reserved for the privileged or the powerful. It is available to anyone willing to take the steps that others avoid. When you rise in moments of hesitation, you become an example of what courage looks like in action, and that example has the power to transform not only your own life, but the lives of those who witness your determination. Authenticity and clarity possess a quiet strength that naturally draws attention, even from those who may not immediately agree with you. When a person embraces who they truly are and speaks from a place of sincerity, their presence becomes impossible to ignore. In a world filled with noise, confusion, and constant pressure to conform, authenticity stands out like a steady flame that refuses to be extinguished. People may not always understand it, but they recognize its rarity. When your intentions are clear and your actions align with your values, the world pays attention, not because you demand recognition, but because truth has a way of revealing itself through consistent character. Approval becomes secondary because your strength does not come from applause. It comes from the courage to remain true to yourself regardless of how others react. Clarity amplifies this effect. When someone knows what they stand for, what they believe, and what they want to achieve, their voice becomes grounded and unshakable. Others listen not because the message is loud, but because it is focused and purposeful. Clarity cuts through doubt. It removes hesitation. It transforms confusion into direction. A clear mind and a clear intention can influence a room more powerfully than the loudest speech. This is why people naturally listen to those who speak with certainty. It gives them something solid to hold on to in an environment full of uncertainty. Authenticity also builds trust. Even those who disagree with your perspective can respect your honesty if it is consistent. People are drawn to realness because it gives them permission to be real as well. Many hide their true selves out of fear of judgment, but your authenticity becomes a reminder that strength is not found in pretending, but in showing up as you are. This creates a magnetic effect. Others look to you for guidance, inspiration, or simply a moment of clarity in their own lives. When you combine authenticity with clarity, your presence carries a balance of humility and conviction. You do not need to shout to be heard, because your consistency speaks for you. You do not need validation to feel secure, because your identity roots you firmly in purpose. And you do not need to chase recognition, because those who value truth will naturally gravitate toward the certainty you express. Even in silence, authenticity communicates depth, and clarity communicates direction. Together, they form a strength that attracts attention effortlessly, not through force, but through the undeniable power of being genuine and focused in a world that often rewards the opposite. When your words carry weight and purpose, silence becomes a sign of respect rather than resistance. It is a powerful moment when people stop speaking, stop debating, and simply listen, not because they are forced to, but because something meaningful has been placed before them. Words that come from a place of clarity, strength, and conviction naturally command attention. They do not rely on volume or theatrics. Their power comes from the truth they carry and the intention behind them. When someone speaks with deep purpose, every sentence becomes a reflection of their inner strength, and the room instinctively responds by quieting itself. This silence is not emptiness, it is recognition. It is the world acknowledging that what is being said deserves space, focus, and thought. Such moments reveal how deeply humans crave authenticity. We hear countless opinions every day, but very few of them leave an imprint. Only words spoken with sincerity and meaning have the ability to pierce through the noise and reach something deeper within people. When someone communicates with purpose, they speak not only to the ears of others, but to their understanding, and that creates a silence filled with reflection. Even individuals who disagree may find themselves quiet, not because they are defeated, but because purpose forces them to consider perspectives they may have overlooked. Silence becomes the bridge between truth and thought, allowing the message to settle before it is judged or responded to. The weight of purposeful words also comes from the courage behind them. When you speak with intention, you are not trying to impress or manipulate. You are expressing something you genuinely believe. This confidence creates a presence that others can feel. People sense when words come from conviction rather than performance. They recognize when a message has been shaped by experience, struggle, and determination. That recognition is what transforms silence into acknowledgement. The room quiets because it senses the seriousness of the moment and the authenticity of the speaker. Silence in response to weighty words is also a confirmation that courage has surpassed doubt. Many fear speaking up because they worry how others will react. But purposeful words break through those fears and create an environment where judgment gives way to attention. When you speak from your core, people instinctively understand that your message is not just noise added to the world, but a statement built from strength, reflection, and resilience. It is in these moments that silence transforms into a sign of respect, a recognition that some voices rise above the rest not by force, but by the undeniable gravity of their purpose.